Team Crawford calling out Danny Garcia?
But why no Bud? But why no Bud?
What? They calling out Danny Garcia? Before we get in this next video, make sure that y'all hit my like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already subbed to the channel. So the fight that we've been all waiting for, it seems like it's getting further and further away from the fans. And y'all know what I'm talking about. That's the fight between Terence "Bud" Crawford and Errol "the Truth" Spence, the Big Fish. We recently heard Steven Espinoza come out and make his comments and saying that, the fighters still want the fight, but they having problems making the fight, but it's still, in the hopes that they could get the fight done for this year. And to me, that sounds like a bunch of BS. That they don't even know if they're gonna be able to get the fight done. Well, Steven Espinoza said he don't know if they're gonna be able to get the fight done, but they still hopeful. Now, with that being said, we've heard Bud Crawford's name with Jermell Charlo and a couple other names. But the fight that the fans want to see is Errol Spence and Bud. Now, as far as Errol Spence, we've heard Errol Spence mention no other name but Terence Crawford. That's the fight that he wants, and that's the only name that he's been mentioning every time a mic is in his face or every time he steps on Instagram or Twitter. For Team Bud Crawford, like I said, they've mentioned a few other names. For one, like I said, they've been mentioning Jermell Charlo, talking about they want to whoop on Jermell Charlo. And now they're mentioning Danny Garcia. Now we know that Danny Garcia had his comeback fight. He hadn't been in the ring since December of 2020 when he fought Errol Spence and he took his third loss. Now, Danny Garcia, he made up a million excuses saying that he was going through depression, and that's the only reason he lost to Errol Spence and all of that. But shout out to Danny Garcia. He went in there this weekend and he fought Jose Benavidez Jr. and he put on a hell of a performance. I thought that he won pretty much every round except for maybe one or two rounds. He let his hands go. But one thing I did see in that fight is Jose Benavidez. He's a slow starter, so he let Danny actually get into his zone. He let Danny get into a rhythm, and that's something that Errol Spence didn't do. You can't let Danny Garcia get in the rhythm, and that's when he starts throwing his hands and letting his hands go. When you hop on him from the time the bells start and you don't give him a chance to, get comfortable and get in the rhythm, well, Danny Garcia, that's when he has problems letting his hands go. With all that being said, like I said, Danny Garcia, he put on a very good performance. Shout out to Danny Garcia on this comeback fight. And I'm looking forward to seeing what Danny Garcia does at 154 pounds. Now, Terence "Bud" Crawford. We've been hearing all type of news that Bud Crawford is, he's wanting more money than what PBC was offering him. He wants more money. He thinks on his side that there's more investors that's going to be willing to put up money for the fight, and he wants what he's saying that he deserves. Well, it is what it is with all of that. I've always said I don't care what fighter gets the money. I just want the fight to happen. But if you got one of the fighters asking for too much money that they know that they're not going to get, and that's a deciding factor of stopping the fight from happening, well, you got to place the blame on that fighter. Nevertheless, like I said, Danny Garcia just fought this weekend. Now, Bernie the Boxer, he's part of Team Crawford. He runs neck and neck with Crawford. He's Crawford's, childhood friend, and he tells people all the time that he speaks for Terence Crawford. Crawford gave him the leeway to basically come out and speak for him, with a lot of conversations that they had behind closed doors. Now, we all know that Terence Crawford and Danny Garcia, they have a history from the amateurs. I believe Danny Garcia beat Terence Crawford one time in the amateurs, and then the second time they fought, Terence Crawford got the victory over Danny Garcia. Now that's a fight that, you know, fans was talking about some years ago, right? Because fans was just basically, we was trying to put Terence Crawford with any competition. There was some competition for him over on the PBC side, since, you know, they really didn't have nobody on Top Rank for him to fight. So one of the names that was coming up was Danny Garcia. And like I said, due to the history that they had in the amateurs, we all know what happened, or maybe some people don't know what happened in that situation. Bob Arum, he came out and he said that he offered Danny Garcia a fight with Terence Crawford, and Danny Garcia turned it down. Now, when we found out the details and the ins and outs of what Bob Arum was saying that he offered, well, Danny Garcia came out and he said that, man, this man offered me $3 million. He offered me $3 million. I had to go to ESPN, right, on Top Rank, and fight Terence Crawford for $3 million. He's saying, man, I was getting more than that fighting Rod Sockles and stuff. No, I'm not fighting Terence Crawford on no Top Rank for no $3 million. You're going to have to come with more than that. And then we never heard nothing more than that. So that fight kind of fell on dead ears to the fans, and the fans wasn't no longer talking about no Danny Garcia and Terence Crawford. But now, recently, like I said, Team Bud Crawford, Bernie, he comes out and he says, well, Danny Garcia is calling out all these names after his fight. Why not Bud? Why he don't want to call out Bud? We want that fight. What's up? We got history, and I'm going to just play y'all what Bernie had to say, and then we gonna come back and cook on it.
He called out Laura, I heard. He called out Thurman again, and I forget who else they said he called out. I didn't get to watch it. I'm gonna watch it when I get off of here though, because Danny is a sharp fighter. But why no Bud? You know, but why no Bud? You know, my boy was bringing to me. You know, nobody really calls out Bud. You know, for all the detractors and say this and that, but ain't nobody really calling out Bud. You know, and that's another point right there last night. Like I say, Danny called. He could have done something and stepped up and changed and said, listen, you know, I'm fighting at 54 now. If Crawford want to go and fight me at 54, we can fight at 54. I don't know if it was real or not, but something. Like I say, you know, why not step out the box? You know, they amateur rivals. People been calling for that fight for a long time. And like I say, you didn't fought everybody in the division is the fight, and why not fight Crawford? You know, you can still get good money. You know, the chance of you winning might be slim, but you understand, you know, for your legacy, you know, a warrior, you know, almost like Sean Porter, you know, and you can't never count yourself out. But like I say, nobody never called out Bud in a serious fashion, you know.
So there it is. Y'all heard it. You know, Bernie say, why not Bud? You're calling out all these names, but why you don't want to fight Bud? It'll be a great fight. Y'all got history in the amateurs. Why not call out Bud? Danny Garcia calling out Bud for what? Bud is a champion at 147 pounds. Danny Garcia made it clear that he's fighting at 154 now. He's not going back down to 147. And then Danny Garcia, like the whole world, is expecting to see Bud Crawford and Errol Spence. So Danny Garcia thinks that Bud Crawford is going to be tied up with an Errol Spence fight. So why would I call out Bud? You know what I'm saying? When I'm chasing a title now at 154. Now, the thing is that I know from behind the scenes that Bud don't want nothing to do with PBC or Al Heyman. But every time we turn around, Bud is calling out a fighter from the PBC. He's telling everybody that he wants to fight Jermell Charlo. Now Danny Garcia. He talking about he been wanting to fight Errol Spence for the last 4 or 5 years. All of this, but you don't want to work with the PBC. That makes no sense to me at all. Every fighter you want to fight is on the PBC, but you don't want nothing to do with the PBC. Make it make sense to me. Now, the only name that should be on Terence Crawford's lips or Terence Crawford team's lips is Errol Spence. Why are you looking and why are you calling out Jermell Charlo and Danny Garcia when y'all act like that y'all want the Errol Spence fight more than anybody? See, that's what's making this whole situation look funny to me. You shouldn't even be talking about no Danny Garcia and wanting Bud Crawford to fight Danny Garcia. Your focus, your main focus and all of your focus should be on Errol Spence. Y'all should be saying the same thing Errol Spence is saying. It's Errol Spence or nothing. We all in. Because that's what Team Spence is saying. When you hear from Errol Spence, that's what he's saying. When you hear from Derrick James, that's what he's saying. But see, y'all don't want it like that. Yeah, y'all want to fight, but y'all don't want to fight like Errol Spence want to fight. And like you say, Bernie, he don't want it. That man don't want it. Yeah, man, you know what I'm saying? I believe y'all want to fight, but y'all don't want to fight like Errol Spence want to fight. You know what I'm saying? Errol Spence had to sit around for all these years listening to y'all slander his name. He had to sit around while a whole sporting network and Top Rank, right, joined forces to run a whole smear campaign on his name and pretend like he was ducking the fight and tell all type of lies on that man. While he just sat back patiently and told y'all exactly what he was gonna do, did everything he said he was gonna do, and now when the time comes, he on y'all motherfucking neck. Right? He pressing the gas on y'all. He ain't talking about nobody else but Terence Crawford. And now it's a roadblock in making the fight happen. It's all type of excuses. You know what I'm saying? Now, just like Errol Spence say, after I get this third strap, we gonna see who holding up the fight. And it ain't me. With that being said, you know, you heard the man tell Danny Garcia, why not Bud? So, like I said, let's see how this thing play out. I want to see the fight between Errol Spence and Terence Bud Crawford. Make the fight happen. If not, I don't know what Bud gonna do. But anyway, y'all drop a comment in the comment section. Hit my like button. And let me know how y'all feel about, you know, Team Bud Crawford calling out Danny Garcia now.